Welcome to IEHP's educational series on Black maternal health. Did you know Black birthers are nearly 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy related complications than white birthers? In this episode, we're talking openly about the fears and concerns that come up during pregnancy and how we can work through them with knowledge, support, and strength.
Hi, Tiana. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
And I'm so excited to talk to you about Black maternal health
Yes.
and perinatal care and all things baby.
Yes.
And let's just get right into it. I want to
Okay.
know how you're feeling about your pregnancy.
Good. Very excited, but also, of course, very nervous. With this being my first pregnancy, there's always that fear of, am I doing this right? Am I eating the right things? Am I sleeping enough? Am I being active enough? So there's definitely always those thoughts going on, but definitely exciting. Very exciting time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering a little bit more about your fears. I know that there are so many statistics out there about
Yes.
Black women and the rate at which they die and the mortality rate during pregnancy. How are you handling that?
Absolutely. I can definitely acknowledge that fear. I resonate with all the women who do have those thoughts and fears because, like you said, it is a very scary thing. Unfortunately, Black women are dying at a faster rate than other women during labor, after childbirth. So it's definitely been a fear of mine, but it also definitely contributed to some of the decisions that I've made during this pregnancy. I made an active decision to have a doctor that looks like me, just because there's that fear of not being listened to.
And that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Because if we think about a very famous tennis player, right?
Yes.
And her childbirth experience,
Yes.
and it just reminds us that it doesn't matter what your SES is, which is your socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or if you're not, that Black women are treated the same regardless in the medical arena, right?
Absolutely.
So when we think about this very famous tennis player that almost passed away during childbirth because she wasn't listened to.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that goes into that implicit bias that some healthcare workers have. It does not matter, like you said, socioeconomic status. I could be a billionaire or a thousandaire. They're going to look at me, look at my skin, and automatically judge, oh, maybe she's being dramatic. Oh, maybe she's over exaggerating. And that is another reason why I specifically chose a doctor that looks like me, because truly I am less likely to experience that implicit bias from someone who looks like me versus someone who does not look like
Can
me.
you explain implicit bias a little bit more?
Of course. So implicit bias is kind of that natural thought process that some people have, and they're not even aware that they are presenting biases to someone. So they will look at my skin color. They will look at someone who might have tattoos or longer nails and automatically think that they do not have the same knowledge or experience that they have, and just make these assumptions about the person.
Right, and that can even be true regarding the men, right?
Absolutely.
Our men. So we think about like our Black men in the birthing space. People always assume, oh my gosh, you're here with someone, or they have like this shocked look on their face, like, I didn't get pregnant by myself.
Yes.
And so you're like,
Yes.
what is that about? Or they think
Right.
that they're being aggressive when really they're just talking using their natural voices. Like Black men have
Absolutely.
loud voices sometimes.
Absolutely.
And they're not being aggressive.
Yes, I can definitely resonate with that because my husband, so yes, I do have a second partner. And like you said, sometimes they assume that we're going in this alone. And my husband does have one of those like just naturally excited high voices. And some people might take that as aggressive, but no, he's just excited. He's going to be a dad too. So if he says, my babe needs water, he's not being mean or aggressive. He's just excited and just in the moment, just expressing what I need as his partner.
Right.
Yeah.
It can feel like you're being targeted.
Absolutely.
And that's not a feeling that we want to have in the birth space. So I completely understand.
Absolutely.
In summary, what is something that you want moms to take away from today?
I would say if you're having any concerns during your pregnancy, Don't be afraid to be your own advocate. Speak up for yourself. Nothing is too little. If you're experiencing a headache or a symptom that you feel is off, don't be afraid to mention it. For example, when I went to my first prenatal appointment at 12 weeks, I advocated for myself, telling my physician, I want to take baby aspirin. I did my own research prior to pregnancy, and I knew that it's not 100% proven, but it is a way to potentially prevent preeclampsia in pregnancy. And if I can do that, I was going to do it. I want to make sure I don't have high blood pressure, make sure that I'm not at an increased risk for preterm labor. So I did mention it to my doctor. I told her essentially I would like to take baby aspirin to prevent this, and she was more than willing to do that. Unfortunately, I had to bring it up to her, but sometimes that's just some of the things that we have to do. So don't ever be afraid to speak up for yourself.
Right. And even going back to implicit bias, right? So if you aren't comfortable with your provider, you don't feel like you're being seen, you're not being heard, you call into your health plan and you get a new provider, and it is okay. You don't have to feel stuck with the provider that you have. If you feel like they are acting unfairly towards you or treating you poorly, that is not a provider that you have to stick with. And oftentimes women, we get assigned to these providers and we think that this is the end all be all, but it's not. We are free to make our own decisions. And if it's not a provider that works for you, it is your right to have someone that you feel like is seeing you and hearing you and is not mistreating you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Of course.